everyone, so this is part 2 of my basic series, and today I'm going to be talking all about tinted moisturizers. Now, a lot of you guys have asked me and actually told me that you don't like to wear too much makeup, or you don't like too much coverage. You want something very simple, very easy for everyday wear, which I totally completely understand. Not everybody wants to put on a full face of makeup every single day, so tinted moisturizers are a great alternative for that. So I'm going to be using 2 in this video, which I will talk about in a second what these are. But some really good benefits of tinted moisturizers is, first of all, they will almost always have an SPF in it, so it'll always give you that sun protection. I'm sorry, something just flew in my nose. Excuse me. Okay, so they will almost always give you sun protection. Most of the time I think it has only SPF 15. Let's see. No, SPF 20 and then SPF 15. So I have 2 different SPFs here. They are very, very sheer, so that could be a good and bad thing, because if you're looking for a lot of coverage, this might not be for you. But if you're looking for just like a wash of, just to make your skin but look better, it's like your skin but better kind of thing, so if you want that, that would be good for you as well. And they're very, very lightweight, so they don't feel heavy on your skin whatsoever, because I know that's a huge problem for a lot of girls who are just like, I don't like foundations because it makes my skin look heavy. This almost feels like your moisturizer. When you put on tinted moisturizer, you can actually skip your putting on did I say that? Yes. When you put on tinted moisturizer, you can actually skip your moisturizers altogether. Not that I ever do, because I have really dry skin, but I know a lot of people do, because you do get that extra moisture from the tinted moisturizer. And then the last thing is, the best part about tinted moisturizers to me is that they make you look so dewy. Like, I think my skin looks really, really dewy right now. I mean, I love the way it looks. I love the way it feels. I really love the way that these tinted moisturizers make your skin look. So with all that being said, I do want to show you guys the 2 products that I talk about. You will see the demonstration in a second, but I do want to show you guys both, and I'll tell you guys my preference now. So the first one is my MAC Studio Tint in the shade Dark, and then the Neutrogena Healthy Skin Enhancer in Tan to Medium 50. Now, I've been using this MAC Studio Fix Tinted Moisturizer for years and years, so I love this, and you guys know I have a special spot for MAC. I don't know if it's mental, but I always just think their products are better than the other companies, but I really, really love this, and I feel like it gives you really good coverage. It's not like super sheer, it's perfect actually, the coverage on this, and it's very, very buildable. Now, the Neutrogena Healthy Skin Enhancer is actually really, really good as well. I really like it. I just have recently tried it, and I immediately fell in love with it, because I feel like this is a foundation with a very sheer foundation. Again, this does have very good coverage as well, but I think the problem with this, why I like my MAC better, is because I think the MAC Studio Tint matches me better, and that's really the only thing. So enough talking, and now let's just move on to the demonstration. Okay, so I have my eyeliner done, and I actually did add some concealer. Anyone wondering, I just used the NW25 from MAC, the Prolongwear concealer. So now I'm going to do half side with, I'll show you guys actually. So I'm going to use 2 different tinted moisturizers. The first one I'm going to use is Studio Tint, and I'm in the shade Dark. And then on the other side, I'm going to use the Neutrogena Healthy Skin Enhancer. And this is in the shade, what shade is this? Tan to Medium 50. There you go. So I'll do one on each side so you guys can see the difference. It might look a little different on camera, because of course the colors will be different, but we'll try to see what we can get. Okay, so the very first, on this side, I'm going to use the MAC one, and I just like to put a little bit on my hand. Now, you probably will need to use a little bit more tinted moisturizer than you use your foundation. Like, I am using a lot of tinted moisturizer right there, but because it's so sheer, it's buildable, and it's not going to look very, very cakey at all. So I'm using it with a synthetic brush, and this is actually another thing that's really important. I really highly recommend using the tinted moisturizers with a synthetic brush, because the product will just sit right here, because it's almost, the consistency of a tinted moisturizer is very different from a foundation. Why am I stuttering? Excuse me. It's very different from a foundation, so it just sits right there and applies it beautifully. So I'm just gonna I like to just put it all over my face. And this just matches me so perfectly. I actually always used to think I was like a medium dark from MAC, but that would always look so ashy on me. So this works perfectly, especially because in the summer I do tend to tan a lot. not purposely, but just, I mean, I like to just lay out in the sun. So anyway, I'm just putting this all over my face, and even though it might look like there's a white cast, it'll eventually become darker than my skin tone, because one thing you have to remember about tinted moisturizers is they do oxidize. So I'm just gonna put that on, and I love how pretty this makes my skin look. It just gives me such a glowy look, you know. So there you go. And now, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, if I've totally forgot now, I'm having total big brain fart, but if you feel like this is not enough coverage, because the tinted moisturizer is always going to be sheer coverage, you can go back and add another layer. It's not going to by any means cover like a foundation would, because see this little monster I have on my face, it's still very visible. So yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and add another layer as well. Okay, so I'm gonna just blend this out for the second time. Blend, blend, blend. And do you see, even though I just put on 2 layers, it doesn't look cakey at all. It just looks really part of your skin. So this is especially great if you're looking for like a really light feel with protection from the sun. This is a great option. All right, so now I'm gonna do the other side. And like I said, I'm going to use this Neutrogena one, which I actually really like as well. So this is a little bit lighter for me, but when throughout the day it gets a little bit darker, so it might come across like that on camera, and I apologize. But for the most part, it works really nicely. See how it's like lighter? That's okay. Now this is a lot more liquidy than the MAC one. And I feel like the MAC one actually has a little bit more coverage. So you just have to see which one is, you know, in your preference. To be honest with you, this Neutrogena one was not that much cheaper. I mean, it was cheaper, but I think it was still kind of expensive. I think it was like $16 actually from CVS. So, I mean, I didn't have coupons or anything, but yeah, see how it's like looking a lot lighter than my skin tone? I actually put too much too fast. So you just really have to blend this out. Ooh, my foundation always goes in my hair. That's okay, I'll clean that up later. And then just keep blending. Okay, so I've finished my entire face, and I apologize if this side of my face looks lighter than this. I actually personally think that the MAC one matches me a little bit better, but that's okay because I know that the Neutrogena will oxidize and it'll all become part of my face, especially because I'm going to add a powder on top. I'm using MAC's Mineralize Skinfinish in medium dark, and I really recommend doing this step when you use any tinted moisturizer, because it'll really set it and keep it in place and make it last longer, because they're very, very sheer and they're not very long lasting, so you really need a powder just to seal everything in. And I really recommend the MAC Mineralize Skinfinish because it's so light and it doesn't make your face look heavy whatsoever. So I'm just gonna dust this on with the Real Techniques blush brush. I'm so sorry that just happened. Oops, I just hit my camera, my tripod, I mean. Okay, so I'm just putting this all over my face. And it will take away some of that dewiness, but that's okay because I don't want to look crazy dewy anyway right now. I mean, by all means, you can leave it, you know, just as is without adding powder, but I just like to add powder. Alright, so I'm going to show you guys the finished look when I put on my blush and my bronzer and some lipstick, and so you guys can see really how this looks as a full makeup. Okay guys, so this is the final look. I added some Give Me Sun bronzer from MAC and Style Blush from MAC and Impassioned lipstick also from MAC. So you guys can see that this still gives you a really beautiful, dewy, full coverage, almost full coverage look. And the reason why it was full coverage, because like I said earlier, tinted moisturizers are usually sheer coverage, is because I added the double layer, and then on top of that I went in with my powder. So if you wanted to keep it, you know, very, very sheer, you don't have to add the powder, you don't have to do the double layer. But I like my foundations to look a certain way, so this is what I did. And I hope you guys found that helpful, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye guys.